Welcome to the BBB Podcast Studio. I'm Andres Trujillo, Creative Director for your Better Business Bureau, serving New Mexico and Southwest Colorado. And I'm excited because today we're going to be talking about community partnerships with organizations to grow our business community. And I have a very special guest on here to talk about this great partnership. And one of the many great partnerships we have, I have Eric Contreras with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Man!
Andres, thanks for having me, bro.
What's up, brother?
It's nice that we finally get to collaborate.
Absolutely.
I like it.
So, man, I got to tell you real quick, your fit is great.
Hey,
fedora, the vest, the tie.
You had me on my favorite day. It's Cinco de Mayo. It's gloomy outside. I said, do I do the fedora for him? When we're out networking, I always have it on. So I thought I'd throw it on.
I mean, but you always have a style to you when everything you do, everywhere you go in public and everything.
Appreciate that.
I mean, so looks great, bro.
I thought I'd bring it for you guys.
Hey, you're bringing it, baby. So, man, real quickly here, just to give our viewers a rundown of who you are. What do you do at the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce?
Yeah, thanks for asking. So my role at the Hispano Chamber of Commerce is I'm the Director of Community and Business Development. Now, that's a wide umbrella of what we do, but I always like to describe it as it's relationship building. Mm-hmm. I'm out in the community constantly talking to our members, non-members, but also trying to link a way that our members can be involved in the community. So I'm like a bridge. And I love it. I couldn't have asked for a better position. It gives me an opportunity to go out and be social and at the same time just focus on economic development.
Right. And so you do host a podcast yourself with the Hispano Chamber. And so you just informed me before the show that this is the first time you're on the other side.
Yeah, I was a little nervous. I came in, I saw your setup. I was like, oh, I'm with a professional today. I'm glad I dressed up. I am. Yeah, thanks for plugging that. I appreciate that. We have a podcast called Hispano Backstage. It focuses all on commerce, community, and culture. I have a great team, marketing team that helps me do that. We have some great guests, but never on this side. So thank you so much.
Oh man, I'm excited to dive in. And one of the things is it's really important when trusted organizations come together to help our business community. I mean, with the Hispano Chamber, your goal is to help businesses. With the Better Business Bureau, our goal is to help businesses. And so let's dive in and talk about why partnerships matter. And I guess really, what is the importance of community partnerships, especially in today's business climate?
Collaboration matters. Our community, our business community, they really want us to collaborate. They want two organizations such as the BBB and ours to come together because if we come together, we benefit them. Mm-hmm. And we're able to offer them resources and we're able to help them with their businesses. So, the fact that maybe in the past two organizations that are going after basically the same thing, we put our differences aside, we find out how our missions align, we figure out how to collaborate, and that really our community benefits from that.
Right. And I know one of the biggest challenges we have in our economy is being able to grow our businesses. I mean, we get a lot of folks that mention that their business is stuck or they're not growing or they're losing money. And so, I mean, when you sit down and break down the elements of business, whether it's your marketing, whether it's sales, whether it's your branding, I think people tend to forget that really collaboration's where it's key. And word of mouth is a big thing. And I think things that you guys do at Hispano, with your events and all the different elements that you have are pieces to that puzzle to help businesses grow. And so, when you look at the partnership between Albuquerque Hispano Chamber and the BBB, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, well, it starts with, I think a couple things. One, organizations know each other, they're familiar. Right. But like we all know in our community, it's not what you know, it's who you know. We're a very relationship-driven community. And so I'll just use us as an example. Mm-hmm. We had an opportunity to connect a couple of years ago. That connection becomes a friendship. That friendship becomes something much bigger because now we're looking at our organizations and how can you and I work together to collaborate and find those little those areas where we can help our community. Mm-hmm. So it's relationship-driven. And the more you work with an organization like BBB and the Hispano Chamber, we're able to just combine resources. Mm-hmm. When you combine maybe something that you guys do great with something we do great, everybody in the community benefits from it. So I think the collaboration is super important.
Everybody wins with those, right? Everybody says, hey, strengths and weaknesses, we really got to look at it from a realist perspective. If I'm weak in something, right, I got to go find the resources and find the people, find the organizations that's going to help me elevate. I got to go find the people that are going to take me to the next level. Just like I got to, hope and say, hey, let me help you as I'm strong in this. So, and I see that you need a little help here. Let's bridge this gap and come together. Let's do this for our business, our community. I mean, when people start spending money in the economy, our businesses grow. Right. It's investment into the economy. And so, I mean, we do have shared mission. We do have shared values. And that's what I truly love about what Hispano Chamber does. And, being here with the BBB and working for the Better Business Bureau, that trust, visibility, those resources. And so, I mean, with you guys, I mentioned earlier, events. That's one of the great things I love about what Hispano does. There's so many events and there's so many opportunities. Talk a little bit about the thought behind that with your guys' group.
I would love to, because even before I worked at the Hispano Chamber, I was a member. And one of the things that I love to do was partake in their networking events. I always thought Hispano Chamber, every time I would open social media and be like, I need to figure out how to be a part of that community. The networking that they do and the events that we do are amazing. However, one of the things that we're really focusing on that I think we do a much better job at capturing is the impact behind the fun. If you've been to any one of our networking events, there's music's blazing. We have a ton of really fun personalities in the room. But what's happening that we weren't really talking about was the deals happening, the connections being made. And so we're really focused on, when you come to one of our events, we want to know your industry. Kiana Yamada, our membership director, shout out to Kiana. She recently just had an idea of putting your industry name tag instead of your name. That way, as you're navigating the room, you go, I need that industry, or I need that industry. And
clever.
we were walking people and we were like, we want you to make a deal. Here's Eric, here's Andres. Let's meet each other. How can you help each other? So our networking events, from the Biz Gratis, which we have once a month, our ambassadors and our women in business do a great job. And then, of course, the event of the year, La Noche Encantada. Which
that's the big party.
You and I have some fun at that one. Yeah.
There's some great times. And I think also, I'm a big believer that when you add the fun to it, people are more likely to retain the information. Because I know that's one of the things that 100%. We love to do is education, right? Educating folks on these different elements so that they can know, hey, I need help. I can go there. And Hispano does a great job with that. But like I said, when you combine that fun and the education side of it, you're more likely to retain it. And you're more likely to want to get engaged and involved even more so. And so I truly appreciate how both of our organizations really align that way. We run parallel and live parallel life.
And I have to compliment you, Andres, because when you think about what we try to give our business community, there's a plenty of business professionals who are amazing, right? But there's also a good portion of our community that need that training. Just because they're an entrepreneur doesn't mean that they have the perfect head for marketing, that they love to do the social media or get out there. And so we really do encourage that young entrepreneur, or just that entrepreneur, to get out of the shell, be fearless, go out and network, because that's how you make your money. We can have all the deals we want. We can open up a big, beautiful brick and mortar store. But if you're not out there making connections, you're not making business.
That's
100% and so between
true.
You and I, and one of the things that I love about you is you walk into any room and you're fearless. And that's one of the things I gravitated towards you when I came into the nonprofit world. You go in, you're not afraid to make connections. You're not afraid to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Absolutely. And this goes hand in hand with what I really wanted to talk about, those benefits to businesses between our organizations. And that credibility and trust is super important, because really, one of the things about the BBB is that credibility, that's our job. Our job is to show that you're a credible business. But with the Hispano, it's about reputation. And so when you combine the two, it's a match made in heaven to help a business grow.
It's like credentials, right? It's like I had mentioned that to me, you're a Swiss Army knife to me. But if you're a business and you're operating and you have the BBB sticker out in front and you have a Hispano Chamber plaque, proud member, you're really showing the community that you're involved and you care. You're getting the training, you're getting the network expertise, and this is somewhere where you want to do business.
Right.
The BBB offers you that credibility. And we do as well. And we also offer, classes and training for a business owner to come and get. Again, when you have those two credibility stickers, people are going to notice.
100%. And I think that's really what it's about, right? If I know that you're a great business, you have a great reputation, I can trust you, I'm going to do business with you.
That's right.
Right. Or at least more likely do business with you. And so when you start seeing these businesses over and over again and more, with more repetition, then you start to be familiar. And that's where that networking comes into play that you just talked about earlier, that, hey, we see you, other people see you, and then they make the connections, right? And that's what I love about your logo, right? That join, connect, thrive, because it is a blueprint for our business community. So, I mean, you guys really have thought of it all. And Hispano's been around for a little bit.
It's been around 50 years. We just celebrated our 50 years. And we, nonprofits that are able to put that number on there, you're doing something right. I remember when I lived in Texas and I would go to a shoe store and I didn't know at the time what a BBB meant. But all the stores in a town called Dumas, Texas would have them on the front and the sticker. And it wasn't until I got older that I realized what that meant. And that does build a loyalty when you see those kinds of things. That person is doing the right things for the community and they're trained. So it brings value.
Absolutely. And I wanted to just mention that education workshops, classes that you guys do. I know with us at the BBB, we do the same thing, right? We have our webinars, we have our workshops, we have our Move Business Forward event that we do every month and things like that. You guys have your set, and it's really important. And if you're a business watching, I really want to encourage you to take advantage of these opportunities and events. And these are just other ways that are benefits of being a member of the Hispano, being accredited with the Better Business Bureau. And so just take advantage of those events. Let's talk a little bit about the impact on the community itself, on the business community and the consumer side as well. And so we talked about how partnerships do strengthen the local economy. But in your mind, what's that ripple effect look like?
Being involved in your community is super important. And sometimes it means you monetarily being involved. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of times where just making a donation to your local charities or nonprofits gets you involved. But really, it's all about the action. There's no substitute for being involved in our community and just doing it boots on the ground. Right. We talk a lot about, we use this analogy quite a bit at the chamber, is that it's like a gym membership for probably both you and I. Mm-hmm. That you're not going to get you get a membership at a gym. You're not going to get a six-pack just by having the card in your wallet. No. You actually have to get up and go to the gym because the membership alone is not going to do that for you. So the community impact is really about just being out and involved in that. There's so many different pillars to being involved in the community. There's the business side of it. There's the educational side of it. And then there's just the philanthropy side of it for everything else. Mm-hmm. And the more and more involved you get, the more relationships you build. Those relationships do end up becoming an ROI from a monetary value. Absolutely. Sometimes they're not measured immediately. And I think it's important to talk about this because everybody asks ROI. Right. And sometimes that ROI is a seed that planted a year ago. Mm-hmm. It's because it's relationship driven. Yes. And you may not see that ROI for a while, but you just have to be patient, continue to nurture it and be good. Absolutely.
Well, and I really love that you brought up the ROI concept because I think, kind of moving into this idea of, okay, why should I, if you're a business and maybe you're not a member of the chamber or you're not accredited with the Better Business Bureau, the one question I do know that comes up is what's my ROI, mm-hmm. right? And to some, ROI is what's my cash return rate? Right. ROI is that seed, that you talked about, brand awareness, maybe leads is an ROI for a company. Every business has a different ROI standard. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I do want to mention is once you become a part of our organizations, such as Hispano and the BBB, your ROI is already there. That's right. Because it's years of that reputation, trust, and credibility. And so, I love that you said that. And so that is super important that people understand when they ask, why should I be a part of your organization? 100%. You nailed that. You're absolutely right. The ROI, at least in the nonprofit world, is something that's always debated and folks. You sit in on any meeting, and when you get involved, the first question is, "What's our ROI?" Mm-hmm. And I think it gets difficult, and the lines get blurred a little bit to talk about that. And you mentioned it. The moment you become a member or accredited with the BBB, you're automatically stamping that you have two organizations and companies that support you and that are behind you. That ROI, that goes a long way. 100%. I mean, you got to make sure that you're doing the right things and you got to show that people trust. I know that's a common theme. Obviously, with the Better Business Bureau, it starts with trust. That's one of our taglines. And so, it really, at the end of the day, it's bigger than business. I mean, it's about building stronger business community, consumer confidence, and just really also jobs. I mean, I know you have plenty of businesses that go, hey, we can't hire anybody. How do we get more people to work? How do we get quality people to work? I mean, talk a little bit about your experience with that at the Hispano Chamber.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that one is difficult because you're right. We have over 1,400 members. And on any given day, you do have that entrepreneur who has difficult questions like that. Listen, it's tough to find good people. So the first thing that we want to talk about is just the platforms that both you and I provide is that it's already built into the system. What are some of the tools and resources that we have that our business member can use themselves?
Right.
And then if we get into a deeper conversation, what's nice about having 1,400 members and partners like the BBB is we make phone calls for them. I just recently had somebody reach out to say who was laid off from a job, was a member though, a private member, and was really struggling. And he was getting a little nervous about, Eric, I don't know what's next, and I'm not sure how the Hispano Chamber can help me.
Right.
But this is my first phone call. And so immediately I take that call, and the first thing I think of is, who in his industry do I know? How can I make some phone calls? And it's not that I'm doing it directly. I'm giving my members an opportunity to support other members.
Yes.
And so you give them a list, and sure enough, this guy landed a job. He landed a job just based on having a network, having a bridge. And I mentioned it just a few minutes ago, is shrinking that degrees of separation. So what we want to do is offer classes. What we want to do is offer workshops. If there's something that we're not offering and our partners at the BBB are, this is where I call Andres. Hey, Andres, I have this guy.
Right.
And he benefits from our connection.
Yes. And I think you nailed that, right? Like resources. And I know that's a common theme here in this, on the show right now is just being a resource to connect others. And so, I mean, as we kind of wind down a little bit, this episode and whatnot, but, really taking the first step is the hardest part, right? If maybe you're not a Hispano Chamber member or accredited business, but really taking that first step to even just say, hey, I'm interested. I got to connect with you. Like with the Hispano Chamber, how do people do that? Like, what's that step process when it comes to becoming a member?
Yeah, thanks. And first of all, if you're not with either one of us, why not? That's the first question. We have an amazing membership team. And I don't want to speak too much on behalf of a membership team that's incredible. As you heard me mention earlier, led by Kiana Yamada, the membership director. We have an incredible leadership team with Ernie Tabaka and Roberta. As you know, Ernie just announced his retirement. We talked a little bit about that.
Yep, I saw that.
But okay, so the membership process is really all about identifying who's members and who's not. When you go now, in the year that I've been there, I don't really go anywhere if they're not a member. And if I do find myself at a place where they're not a member, the first thing I want to do is be like, hey, are you a member? And it's not because I'm in sales. It's not because, there's a commission tied to it for myself.
Right.
It's because that I fell in love with the mission and the process.
Yes.
And so when I meet that ice cream shop who, the owner, I see them packed, I'm like, you have to join us. I want you to become part of our family, not only because I think that we can help you, support you and drive business to you, but because it is just a backbone for those tough days.
Yes.
Every entrepreneur has those tough days where, one day you're happy and you're really excited. And there's another day where you're like, I just need someone to talk to. I need those resources. I need someone to kind of talk me through it. That's really, I think, what you and I are in our businesses is that we offer a support system.
Well, and that's what it's about, right? Being able to say, hey, this is where it's at for you. This is what you need. And when you partner with these organizations such as the BBB and Hispano, you're going to benefit. I can't emphasize that enough. You're going to get those benefits. You just have to understand and say, hey, I got to work. I got to put a little work in it. 100%. Right? You got to put in that little work.
One of the things that we changed, we've been around 50 years. And over that time, we haven't had a whole lot of change in our membership. So just recently, we changed our membership to tiers.
Yes.
And why that's good is because you can now measure our worth as well. Depending on the tier of membership that you are, you can measure the value that we bring to you. Not everybody needs the same thing. There might be a small business that doesn't need A, B, and C. And then there's a large business who does.
Right.
And so by breaking down the tiers, we're really able to have more conversation with our members. We can ask them more detailed questions like, what do you need for your business? And then we match up their needs and their wants to our resources.
Beautiful. Man, you got that pat down.
Hey, let's go.
You get it, baby.
Cue the Cinco de Mayo music.
Hey, got a grito, right?
That was well done.
Yes, sir. So I know, like I said, we talked about events. What do you have coming up for this Hispano?
Yeah, so we have the golf tournament, which is coming up quickly next week, May 14th. That golf tournament's already sold out, but that golf tournament, it goes towards scholarships. So we talk a lot about commerce and the business community, but we also talk about education there. Supporting scholarships, all of the proceeds of this golf tournament, which is an amazing golf tournament, by the way, all of those proceeds goes to giving scholarships.
Beautiful.
And, it's one of my favorite things. I think we're doing a little bit more at the chamber to get involved with the education system with APS and all of our other charter schools, and that's been a ton of fun.
Absolutely. And, make sure you give back. I think that's really important, even though we're nonprofits, right? Like, you still give back. You still give back to those initiatives. You still give back to building the infrastructure in anything you do so that our their jobs, the economy is growing, things like that. It's, you guys have a beneficiary. You do that, like with the BBB golf tournament in June, we're giving back to the Southwest Community Empowerment Foundation, which helps empower local entrepreneurs so that they can, take the classes, certifications they need so they can become great business owners and actually grow their businesses. So, that's what it's about. What are some other major events later this year that you have going on?
Yeah, so, we always do the Hispanic Heritage Awards, which comes in the fall. We've kind of made that change to being like a weekly event where it's like a mixer or a award show that's like after hours. We've changed that. Roberta Ritchie had a vision to make it kind of feel like the Oscars. So she moved it to the weekend.
Love it.
And anybody you can vote for any of our members to win this award. It's a great give back to the community. That happens in the fall. We're involved in so many other things. But one of the things I want to touch base on is what you just said. When you're out there looking for sponsors are always kind of looking for one of two things. Right. Sometimes our big sponsors don't need the small resources that we do. But what they want to do is see that you're making an impact. Mm-hmm. So like the Hispanic Heritage Awards that we do, the golf tournament, these various events, signature events that we do, they want to see you giving back to the community. And I think that's super important with what you guys do. As you mentioned, some of the programs and things that you do, we also want to make sure that they see us visible in the community giving back. Mm-hmm. Because we're a nonprofit. Of course, we have to go out there asking sponsors. Like, we'd love for you to be involved in our golf tournaments. We would love for you to be involved in our youth events, the La Noche Encantada. But more importantly, we want to show that your dollars are giving back to the community. And that's through things like this. Some people might say, hey, they're having a podcast, having a ton of fun. But what we're getting to do is talk about our initiatives. So thank you for that opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, we're kind of winding this down here, but I just, I just want to say thank you first and foremost. Eric, I have so much respect for you, your team at the Hispano. You guys are doing really great things, and I am really honored, and I know everyone here at the BBB is honored to be partners with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce, because those are so important. But I do wanted to just mention out there, if you're watching, you're a business owner, maybe you are a member of the Hispano Chamber, but not accredited with the Better Business Bureau, come get accredited. If you're an accredited business, maybe not a member of the Hispano Chamber, get signed up and be a member of the Hispano Chamber. And so it's real easy to do. It's not difficult. We're here to help you. 100% walk you every step of the way to make that happen. Now, as we kind of have our closing section here, what's your final takeaway on the power of collaboration?
Wow. When you and I first met, we sat in a boardroom together, and I was, I'm always really excited to collaborate. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about this or not.
Go ahead, you're fine. Yeah, absolutely.
So Andres was sitting in there, and owns the Runners indoor soccer team, which I'm a huge fan of. Was really sad to know that this season wasn't going on. But in our time that we had a chance to work together, you sat in there and you asked the same question as a member would. How can we collaborate to drive business? Because it was about getting butts and seats. And at the end of the day, I immediately took that to heart. And I wanted to figure out how we could use our resources to collaborate together. Now, sometimes that's not making promises that you can't live up to or that you can't deliver on. But it's about just having enthusiasm. Yeah. If you get two people together like you and I with enthusiasm, there's probably something that we can do. And if there's a problem, we can fix it. And we're dreamers.
Right.
Now, we're talking about you and I, but I think having people in your organizations like this help us to see the bigger picture.
Yes.
And again, collaboration allows two different people. You mentioned it earlier. Maybe there's something I'm not good at.
Right.
This setup that you just did with everything, and I'm looking and watching you, and I'm like, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
And maybe there's something that I do that maybe you look up to. If we combine those forces, everybody benefits. And if we build our team and our two cultures that way, then there's two forces out in the community that have their best interest at hand, not yours and I's, but the community. And that's why I love working with you.
Ah, man, I appreciate that. Thank you for the wonderful and kind words. And yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, you say, you know, you appreciate what's going on here. And I really take that to heart. And I really am honored about those words that you've given me and our organization. But I got to give it to you as well. And, you know, it might be just like a big old pop star. Hey, you're great. You're great. You're amazing. But truthfully, I, like you said, that enthusiasm, bringing that energy together to project, to let, you know, what is that phrase? Don't be afraid to let your light shine, because it
100%.
gives permission for others to do the same.
And don't let anybody dim it either.
Right.
That's also important.
Exactly.
Because sometimes, this is one of the probably my favorite things that I learned. We may not have all of the answers. We may not be the best at something, but attitude is so important. And so if you're sitting across from somebody, whether it be an entrepreneur or a business, it's okay to say, you know, I don't know that answer just yet, but at least have the enthusiasm to care.
Yes.
And, you know, if you can walk around your community and your business with a positive attitude is everything.
100% agree.
I'm telling you, if you're looking to attract new customers, if the BBB is looking to get more people accredited, we're looking to get more members, starts with just being positive. It starts with an attitude to say, hey, listen, here's why, here's the energy, because that's what we're all looking for.
Absolutely. So real quickly here, what's the rundown for the website and social channels to get in touch with Hispano?
ahcnm.org. If you're looking to become a member, you can contact Kiana Yamada at 9100396. Please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to have you become a member at the Hispano Chamber, show you all the fun things that we're doing, and support you as an entrepreneur, as a business member, or a community member.
Absolutely. So, Eric Contreras with the Albuquerque Hispano Chamber of Commerce. Brother, thank you so much for being on the show and really just helping set the runway for our 2026 year with the Hispano Chamber and the BBB partnership. I'm really looking forward to the greater things that we are doing together and even the future. What's to happen?
Let's do big things.
Let's do big things.
Let's do big things together.
So get involved. It's easy. Reach out to Hispano. Reach out to the BBB. It's simple. We'll walk you through. Andres Trujillo here, Creative Director for the Better Business Bureau, serving New Mexico and Southwest Colorado. Thanks for joining us right here at the BBB Media Studios. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.